Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We got a beautiful Thursday upon us here. And I got a sore back. Believe that. We got episode 112 here. If you're new to the show, we talk about everything top to bottom. We have a good time. We have some good laughs. This episode is sponsored by Phillips Law. $1 billion plus one for our clients. Trusted and recommended since 1993. Over 1,800 plus Google reviews. Official partners, the Arizona Cardinals and ASU Sun Devils. You Need Phillips. And the official call line for our audience, family, and friends is 602-388-1669 for any legal advice you may need, free of charge. And I'm on Snapchat, Tim Welch MT. I'm snapping my days, so come along. Okay, here we go. Thank you for that, Gloria Tells. We'll get into this in a little bit. I'm here with my beautiful mother. My beautiful mother of 30. She's been my mother for 33 years, if you can believe that. And yeah, this morning had a great morning. Had a great morning routine. Woke up. I knew I had a long Wednesday, and I'm just like, if I just make my morning routine quality, it'll give me good energy throughout the whole day. So as soon as I woke up, went and got on the treadmill, went on there for about 20 minutes, not really high pace, trying to nasal breathe the whole time, get off, do some lifts, do some push-ups, head straight into my red light therapy, and then get on my PEMF machine. And then I wrote my newsletter this morning, and I was just listening to the Joe Rogan podcast where he had Gary Breck on, and that's the guy who's changed Dana White's life around. He put him on all this stuff, and I've talked about it so much in the past, so I don't talk about it much anymore, but it really is a big reason why I have so much energy and why I think my life is going in a good direction, because of my morning routine. As stupid as it sounds, the red light therapy, if you can't afford one of those, I get mine at Mido Red Light here in Scottsdale. They have some nice red light therapies, but if you can't afford them, you get the same things from going out in the sunlight. And it's weird. You can go out in the sunlight first thing in the morning, get your eyes woken up, get some sunlight on your skin, and then you can take a freezing cold shower. For the longest time, my cold plunge I bought for $150 on OfferUp. You can look on Craigslist for a deep freezer. I literally didn't do anything to that deep freezer. I didn't put caulking in it. I didn't have to fill up any leaks. And that deep freezer lasted me probably 2.5 years. And I started doing the cold plunges probably 6 or 7 years ago. And it seems like now in the last 1 to 2 years, they're becoming super popular. But like I said, the PEMF machines, the one I have is really expensive, but you can get some cheaper PEMF machines. But if you can get those 3 things, and you don't have to have a long morning routine. You can wake up, get moving for 10 minutes in the sun, go do a cold shower. If you have if you have a PEMF, great. But it gets you going. Compared to you wake up sore, you're a little bit tired, because sometimes you wake up and you're in a deep sleep, and you wake up in that deep sleep and you're like, God, I'm still tired. Maybe you're not tired. You were just in a deep sleep when you woke up. So instead of right when you wake up, reach over, grab that phone. Let's see what the world's doing. Let's see everyone else's happiness and problems and everything right there. And that just fills your brain with everybody else's stuff. So if you give yourself a little bit of quiet time in the morning, just with your own mind, it's really healthy. It's really healthy, and you can really tell. And you do it one day, great, but you do that and get in the routine of doing that and just have that be your normal mornings. It's going to be good for your overall health. It's going to be good for keeping you young. It's going to be good if you're needing to be creative in any way. It's going to be good for that. It's going to be good if you have relationships with people. You're going to be in a better mood. You're going to just feel better. You can give off better energy. I can't recommend just having the good morning routine enough, and just doing the best you can at making it better and better. So we got my mom in town, my mom and sister in town, it makes me sad. It almost makes me want to cry sometimes. I haven't seen you. We snap a lot. We text a lot. We do phone calls a lot, but we haven't seen you in person for 7 years.
Wait.
Right?
No, because August, we had that little ring ding at your brother's house.
Okay.
August.
Oh, yeah.
So a year ago.
7 years
only
7 years since you've been down here.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's like,
terrible.
it's like
Sad.
hurts your heart.
Sad.
But at least we have, you know what I'm thankful? I'm thankful for phones and stuff. You can stay in
yeah.
contact, and you get to watch my Snapchat, so you feel like you're hanging out all the days.
Yep. I know what's going on in your life more than you know what's going on in mine.
Yep. And I prefer for you not to listen to the pods, but you do.
Sometimes.
Every time.
No.
Every
Don't
episode,
you
you're
know?
turning that
Yeah,
thing
right.
on, cranking it for you and
Nope.
you and Tony at work.
No.
Okay. Okay, I made my mom take a dip in the cold plunge, and she was so against it. And I said, Mom, it's mental weakness if you're scared to go in that plunge, because you know it's healthy for your body and it's healthy for your mind, but you really have to battle those demons before getting in there, don't you, Mom?
Oh, yeah.
And what made you pull the trigger and say, I'm going in?
Because I knew I could do it.
Yep. You've been through a lot tougher
Yeah.
things in your life.
Oh, yeah. And it's nice when you get your adult children encouraging you. Like, I feel like I can pretty much do anything.
Yeah, and we had me and Michaela were holding her hand, and we dipped her in it, and she hit me up like like we were getting in lava.
That was
Screaming like we were burning her.
not the first time. It was the second time after getting in the hot tub and then back in the cold. That's when it freaked me out.
Yeah, and we let her slip a little bit, so she went down neck deep and like she was gonna die, but she
Yeah.
did it. And then, how good did you sleep?
Oh, yeah. I slept really good. Yeah, and I could feel the circulation in my lower calves. I could just feel the tingling, and I'm all about good circulation. I'm with you on that. I know that's how you heal.
You can see how it can get addicting, but I know it's tougher being in Canada, being in Montana, when it's already a cold plunge outside all the time to get in a cold plunge.
Yes.
Like here in AZ, it's a lot.
Yes.
I'm not going to say easier, but yeah, easier.
Yeah. Oh,
And my poor brother, he was guiding some guy on a hunting trip. He guides people on elk hunting trips now. And the guy fell over on the same rock, and my brother tried to catch him, tore his bicep again. And he's torn his bicep. I've torn both my biceps. He torn his bicep. Now he tore it again. So it's weird. It's got to be a genetic thing. It's really, really pisses me off. But he had to go to surgery last night. But Matt, my brother, he's just the most like tough, one of the toughest people I know. No matter what happens, he'll always put it in perspective right away. But it always could be worse. There's people in Israel right now. There's people that would just kill to have legs. People that would kill to have arms. I have arms. I have legs. I have my eyes. You have so much to be thankful for.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's always good to have him put things into perspective. You think something's just the end of the world, or this is just poor me, but then it's like, just don't be a pussy. It could be way worse. It really could. I forgot what I was getting at there. But my mom has an interesting story. She was raised. It's not called the Carnival. It's called the Fair.
The Carnival.
The traveling carnival. So my grandpa was a really good artist. Right. I actually have a couple pieces of his art in the coffee shop. My mom has a ton of his art that she's going to bring down, and we're going to hang up more of it. But he was a crazy, crazy good artist. And you said he was kind of a free-spirited, creative person, and you see similarities in me.
Oh, yeah. You remind me of him. He did not go along with the normal. He got a school bus, and we totally pulled out the seats and Bon-Amied the windows for curtains and slept in it that first night with nothing in it, Mom and Dad and me and my brother.
So he bought a school bus, and you guys didn't have a home at the time, so you made that school bus into your home.
That's right.
With 2 kids.
Yep. Dad did not want to punch into a time clock and carry a lunch bucket to work. He did not want a boss. He did not want to do that, and he didn't care what he had to do to get it. And so he took the whole family, and we were trained in business very young.
Trained in business. So was he doing his art, and then what made you guys get into the old, because you would do the old time photo booth at the carnivals and the fairs.
So that's what we started doing, was the old time photo booth. So that's what got us going. We got rid of our apartment in Southern California, and then we got into the old time photo booth.
And at this time, you're probably 12.
I was probably a little younger, but yeah, right around there. Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we're going to be living in this school bus now. We're going to be traveling around to different carnivals.
That's right.
He's setting up our booths, and you were working with him.
But before he got the school bus, let's backtrack a little. He got a step van, like a bread truck. And before I went to school that day, him and Mom said, so we bought a new van. And I was so excited, and I went to school. And then when I came back to see the new van, it was a big old bread truck sitting in front of our apartment. And I thought, oh my gosh, is that our new van? And so I go in, and they're like, yeah, what'd you think of our new van? And I'm like, that's our new van? And my dad looked over at my mom and said, "You didn't tell her?" And I'm like, "Tell me what?" "We're going to live in that big van." I'm like, "What?" I said, "You can store some stuff in my bedroom. You don't have to store it in there." And like, "No, we're going to live in that van." And so we started with the van and graduated to a school bus.
So the school bus was extra room.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow.
Extra.
So you had your brother, you on the school bus. And then at this time, my dad drops out of school. I don't know what grade he dropped out of school, probably 7th grade. Hitchhikes from the reservation in Wolf Point to Great Falls, I believe.
Yeah.
And then gets hired on as a carny.
Yeah.
Putting together the carnival rides, working the games.
Yeah.
No parents, no guidance, just ended up joining that. And then
Right.
that's where you and my dad met.
Right.
Do you remember where you met him?
Oh, yeah.
Or how he rizzed you?
Oh, yeah.
How'd he rizz you up?
Well, I was working in the booth, the photography booth, and he was the ride jock across the way. And him and I, our eyes locked, and he sent a little kid over and said, "Tell that girl over there that she's cute, but don't tell her who said it." And so this guy said, "You're cute," but he said not to say who it was. And we both looked at each other, and then
And you're around what age at that point?
14.
14 years old.
Yeah, he was 18.
14, he was 18. Well, let's say 17. He was probably 17.
No, he was 18 because we married when I was 15 and he was 19.
Okay. So say he was 17 and he ended up getting you pregnant.
He did.
At 14 years old.
15.
Okay, so you're 15. So 15 years old, you get pregnant with Matt.
Yep.
And then how long before you found out you were pregnant? Were you like, did you take a pregnancy test or you just
Never took a test, missed like a period. And I said, "Mom, I think I'm pregnant." And then my dad got so mad. He was so mad. And we took off in the bus and parked in some casino parking lot away from the rest of the carnival. And he got so drunk and so mad and so angry. And he says, "You're going to have to get married now."
So he was mostly mad about the sex before marriage compared to just the baby.
No, he was mad that I got pregnant.
I mean, you're 15-year-old baby.
They bought me condoms.
After that.
No, before.
Okay.
But I wasn't going to admit to anything.
Yeah, because, I mean, you're 15 years old. It's like you're working a carnival. The whole carnival's going on, and it's like you can't keep track. The 15-year-old's going to wander off a little bit. And
my mom encouraged it.
Wander off. Yeah. And then my dad, I mean, like any guy. So that's crazy. So telling your parents, and it's like, okay, now I'm 15 and about to have a kid, and I'm living in a school bus with my parents, traveling the carnival.
Yes.
Oof. And then, so how did it go about, okay, so you're 15 years old, you have Matt, and then you're 17 years old, and he's already 2 years old.
Yeah. I was always young.
And you were raising him mostly where at?
In Great Falls. We settled in Great Falls after Matt was a year.
So about 16 years old, you started to leave the carnival.
Yeah.
And then you found a little trailer in Great Falls.
Yes.
And then my dad stopped doing the carnival too.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he still is a little wild guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's in our blood.
Wild.
Yeah, it's in our blood.
Whatever.
And so he was maybe doing the marijuana a lot and partying like any res kid with no guidance is going to do. I mean,
exactly.
Kids with guidance still do that.
Yes.
And he had no guidance, so doing that and maybe abusing it a little bit. And then you ended up finding the religion, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes.
And that helped him straighten up a little bit, get his act together, give him some morals.
Back up a little. That helped me to deal with our situation and family. Because here, remember, he's a wild card. So 5 years I was walking the straight and narrow, and it helped him to get on the path.
Mm-hmm. Which is crazy because there's a lot of guys in that situation. They're that age. They would dip on that so quick. They would leave that situation. They would you can take care of that kid.
We loved each other.
Yeah, you loved each
we
other.
loved each other and liked each other.
But
too.
thankfully, he wasn't like, this is just too much. I can't support a kid. I'm 18 years old. I can't even support myself. And he didn't just leave.
He did after 18 years. Oh, he did that.
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot. That happens with over 50% of marriages, if I'm sure about that.
More than that.
More than that.
We had a good run.
Yeah, but still, for the fact that he didn't go off is like pretty impressive.
Well, what? But we had some glue. Like we had some standards, some boundaries. We had love.
Yep, and that helped kind of keep it together. So I'm thankful for that because I could have turned out really messed up if you didn't get it together with your guys' upbringing because you dropped out of school what age?
I never did drop out. My dad took me out to travel on the Carnival. And then later when I got married and had Matt, then I got my GED.
So he didn't even, when he took you out to do the Carnival, he wasn't even like worried about your education or
he went to the bookstore and got an English book and a math book and said, here, study 3 hours a day in the bus yourself. And so I did that. But later I got my GED because I didn't want that to be identified that way. So
yeah,
I don't talk about that much, so don't tell anybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least you got your GED.
Yeah. And lots of work experience.
Mm-hmm. So that's pretty interesting.
But yeah, when Matt was 7, then we wanted you.
And how old were you then?
So I would have been 22. But you were supposed to be a girl.
You just wanted one boy, one girl, and I came out flaming little redhead.
Yeah, here's a redhead. And I was kind of surprised because I really tried to make a girl.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Supposedly nowadays you can really time. I mean, I've heard a couple doctors talk about where you can time it.
Yeah, that's what we tried. And here's Tim.
Yep, and then I came out.
Yeah, it's like whoa.
So then 22 years old now, and now you have a 7-year-old.
Yep.
And then a newborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You guys navigated through that.
Oh yeah. And when you're 3, you're so stinking cute. Had to have you a sister. Went for the girl.
Mm-hmm. And didn't you have a home birth with Michaela?
Both of you.
Home birth.
Both of you were home births.
So at that time, did you have health insurance?
Yes, through your dad's work. Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, we just did the home birth because it's easier. It's like going to the bathroom at home. It's easier, right?
I mean, yeah, it'd be scary though.
Right?
Any little thing.
It was.
Like with Mariah, she had I forgot what you call it, but when you get born and all your internals are outside you.
Oh.
So she had to be life flighted to Seattle as soon as she got born. The parents had to drive. Like, that was probably a scary time.
I wouldn't do it again.
Have a kid?
At home.
Really?
I wouldn't do it at home again.
Just because of epidural?
No, just because it's scary. Stuff can go wrong. But my midwife, she was calm enough and she was relaxed enough and not too proud. She would rush me in if I needed to.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do it again. So.
Yeah, and you were talking to me the other day, and it seems to be more common nowadays that people, if they're feeling fulfilled in life, that they don't really need to have kids.
Yeah.
It seemed like back a couple generations ago, that's what you do. You have 3 or 4 kids. Mm-hmm. That's just what everybody does.
Yeah.
But nowadays it seems like it's changing a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you have other things going on in your life, couples can very, very much be fulfilled if they're helping people. Mm-hmm. If you feel like you're helping people, and especially as a team, like, how great is that? Help people be happy and have joy and, and see that there's life beyond just this. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. I bet you have some pretty crazy stories from the carnival and stuff. And I wonder if we have some extra pictures that we have of you and the family dressed up that we could send JX to put on the screen. That'd probably be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. It's so long ago.
I remember seeing photos, though, old photos of you guys doing the old time.
I do have some boxes at home still.
Yeah, so
my
back, this reoccurring injury in my lower spine is so debilitating. I mean, it's so annoying. It can make you depressed so fast. Those one things that can just make you just take enjoyment from your day is bad back pain and a bad toothache.
Oh, yeah, because of the nerve endings in your feet, too.
Yeah, you just do anything to be healthy. So
yeah,
it's pretty annoying because it seems like it's a reoccurring injury. I don't know if it's a bulging disc or what it is, but I'm trying to just get through it. Yeah. Get through it.
Yeah.
Well, we got a lot to talk about today. This was a little thing that popped up by Dana White, and I thought this was pretty accurate and true. It's on the epidemic sound.
My general health, never again. None of.
Here we go.
I will never talk to a doctor about my general health ever again. If I break my arm, I'm gonna go see a doctor. If I need surgery, I'm gonna go see a doctor. My general health, never again. None of them know what they're talking about. They're all full of shit. All they know is to put you on pills and put you on medicine. That's all they know.
Is that the truth? I mean, before you think, I'm going to go to the doctor, he's going to help me get my health right. They're not getting your health right. You have your phone, you have research now, you have podcasts with experts that are just studying the newest science, the newest everything to learn about how to get your health right. You go to a doctor, they're not trying to get you, they're going to give you some pills to cover it up and mask it.
Oh, yeah.
It's sad. And you hear someone, oh, they're a nurse. They're a nurse. They know. It's like, oh, you're a nurse? You weigh 350 pounds? You don't know how to take care of yourself at all, and you're going to tell me how to take care of myself? The thing is, they're not, I don't think they're taught to take care of themselves. But it's like, if you're in any of those type of things where you're supposed to be helping someone, you better have your health in order.
The body's ability to heal itself is incredible. And just work with how we're made and work with that circadian rhythm, eating on time, scheduled, and being very balanced and keeping stress off our plate as much as possible, we're going to be fine. Yeah. Simple. It sounds really simple because it is.
Yeah, but it's also not, because you go into the gas station and there's Starbursts and there's candy and there's jelly beans and there's donuts and there's all this stuff for 50 cents.
That's not God's food, is it?
And then you try to get organic chicken breast and it's $10 for the chicken breast.
That's right.
So it makes it hard. It's not easy.
It's not set up. The world's not set up to keep us healthy. We have to be balanced and try to go with the original food.
Before social media and before all the internet and YouTube and stuff, it's like, where do you go to get healthy? You go to the doctor. The doctor's supposed to tell you how to, but that's
the problem. People think you got to fix it now. And that's what I was thinking when I was going through my menopause thing. Fix it now. I'm not supposed to be going through this. Well, just work with your body and let it do its thing. And just because you're having some type of symptom doesn't mean you have to cover it over. Let your symptom ride itself out. And what's supposed to happen next? Like, I'm 56, so what's going to happen next? Well, my body's going to start getting older. Yes, I know I need to work out more, but work with what's natural. And I don't want to talk too much about the, PMS stuff and stuff like that on your show, but work with it.
Yeah. Okay, this was interesting here. Masculine Peak here on Twitter. Other than money, what truly makes a man high value?
I would say trust.
Yeah,
loyalty.
Maybe feeling safe.
Yeah, that's trust. And I know for me personally, I like a spiritual leader. I like someone that's going to, take the lead in what's important to me. And I know with like you and Mariah, you take the lead in what's important to you guys. So I think a leader is important, personally, but everybody's like different that way. I'm sure that's controversial to some people because
not really. I mean, maybe not really. I mean, I value probably a leader.
It's traditional.
Okay, this one's by Navalism here. Clear thinkers take feedback from reality, not society. I think that's good. Naval always has that kind of stuff. He always has good stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of things here. Let me go to this next one. We need to do some James Clear. I haven't done James Clear articles in a minute. So we could do some James Clears. We'll pop up this one real quick. This guy says, my divorce in 2005 was one of the lowest points of my life. It forced me to take a hard look at myself to figure out how I moved forward. While painful, dealing with the grief made me stronger. Here's 7 hard truths from my experience. You have to be self-aware, tough because your emotions will be all over the place. Don't be fooled by them and focus on what you need to improve. Others will have opinions on what you should do, but start by being brutally honest with yourself and trust your intuition. Your circle will change. Hard situations result in battle lines being drawn. Mutual friends will pick sides, communications will cease, and this can add to the pain. but it doesn't have to, and you can view it as simplifying your life. Remember, often is more or less. That's probably really hard with a lot of divorces, is your friend groups. Like, I can't even imagine if Mariah and I got separated, like all of her friends are my friends too, her community is my community, so it's like all of a sudden you separate, and it's like,
it's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the situation. If your at home life is terrible, and she's not looking to improve, and she's just being pathetic, and she's bringing you down, and you try to work on it, you try to do things for years, but she's just not wanting to. Well,
I think that's where, is the person suffering from mental illness, and I think that's the big one there. If they're suffering from mental illness, then and they don't want to get help, like, what are you going to do? They don't want to get help, and you're in it with them, then you're miserable.
Exactly.
Like, you're making everybody miserable.
And you got to make a decision.
Yeah.
How you cope with matters. You will experience grief. During the time I read a book on grief and still remember one stat, only the death of loved ones puts you through more grief than divorce. That's interesting. Because the death of loved ones has to be the absolute worst pain on earth, I would say.
Well, going through a divorce is
probably up there.
It's like a death. Sometimes it's worse because, like, especially if there's kids involved and you're back and forth like that, and you still have to have that connection with the person. So it's almost like a sore, and you're just putting some sand in it every time you see them. And then a lot of times people that go through a divorce, they've got the kids running around. Let's say you're swapping the kids back and forth, and the kids are talking about what mom's doing with Joe now, and you're having to hear it.
Yep.
Listen to what's going on over there.
Yeah,
so it's just like miserable.
Yeah, for sure, I bet. It's an opportunity to learn. Hard times are a chance for you to figure out what's right for you. Take ownership of the role you played. Learn from the struggles and work to not make the same mistake again. It's difficult, but you know what else is hard? Staying the same. Recovery comes down to your mindset. Some life choices work out and some are disaster. If you're struggling to figure out what's next, start by deciding you're going to make it. It's not complex choice, but it's a step in the right direction, and that's all you need. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I mean, a lot of people go through divorces, and how do a lot of them handle it? Like, can you go to therapy? Therapy would work, but I mean, it's probably just like, gosh, you've pictured your whole life, you're getting old with this person, then all of a sudden, boom, it changes. Now everything changes. Yeah, it's probably tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. And it's sad for the friends, too, that see it go down.
Oh, yeah.
Your mutual friends. It changes everything. It can be catastrophic. Mm-hmm. It can tear down empires.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Yeah. We'll go through a James Clear article here, and then we'll move on to some of our questions. We got some great Patreon questions from the Brotherhood. This is number 1 from James Clear this week. Forget about peak performance. Would your results improve if you simply focused on being reliable in the normal moments? Show up when it's easy to skip. Do the fundamentals and do them well, and so on. Before you make it complicated, remember there's always simple improvements waiting to be made. That's the thing I'm reading with Jiu-Jitsu a little bit. People want to learn from the black belt, so they want to come to my classes. But I have purple belts under me now, good blue belts, that I need to do advanced sequences with. Sequences like take down, take the back, get a mat return, take the back, get the hooks. So I need to get there's thousands of different sequences. But if a white belt comes in there and he doesn't really know how to properly shrimp, he doesn't know how to get into a good takedown, he doesn't know how to finish the takedown, he doesn't know how to take the back, then he's just going to be flopping around with crappy technique the whole time. So focusing on the fundamentals and working on the fundamentals, it takes time in jiu-jitsu. But the ones that focus on the fundamentals and have good fundamentals, you can tell compared to the ones that skipped it. Number 2, you have to live with your mistakes, but you don't have to compound them. To follow up an error with a foolish reaction is to lose twice. Given the reality of where you are at right now, what is the best next action? A wise response may not erase a dumb mistake, but it can redeem it. Decent. Number 3, at some point you'll have to learn to let go. There's an endless list of obligations and expectations, desires and ambitions, and worries and fears that will be ready to insert themselves between you and feeling of peace. If you never learn to let them go, there will never be enough. We talked about this one before, but that is a good one. There is an endless list of obligations, expectations, desires, and ambitions, and worries and fears that will always be ready to insert themselves. No matter how successful you are, no matter what you got going on, there's always, okay, what's next? Now what's next? Now there's fear, I'm going to lose it. If you can't just let go and just be thankful for what you have a lot of the times, you're never just going to feel just peace. Thought that was good. This one's quotes from others. The television series Mozart in the Jungle reminds us of the beauty of being an amateur. You say amateur as if it was a dirty word. Amateur comes from the Latin word amare, which means to love, to do things for the love of it. That's interesting. Because I remember being an amateur fighter and you're just fighting for free. Sometimes you're paying to fight. You just love to do it. And then once you become a professional, especially you get 5 fights deep, it gets a little more stressful. You don't get to just fight for the love of the fight. You got to fight for money. There's a lot of pressure on your back to win the next one, because if you lose one, then you got to win 3 in a row to get back to get an opportunity anywhere usually. So being an amateur, to do things for the love of it, that's pretty good. Yeah, when you're an amateur, it's just fun. You're traveling around, you're doing the fights, you're getting your hands wrapped. It's just good fun. You're feeling the emotions. Once you're a pro, it's still fun and it's sweet because you make money, but it's a job. You're not just doing it. You're doing it for money. You're doing it for other things too. Okay, this one's by Anthony DeMello. He's the one who wrote what's the book Anthony DeMello wrote?
I forgot. It's like a cover with like a tree on it or something.
The one we always talk about.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. Let me look it up.
This is what he says. He says, you must cultivate activities that you love. You must discover work that you do, not for its utility, but for itself. Whether it succeeds or not, whether you are praised for it or not, whether you are loved and rewarded for it or not, whether people know about it and are grateful for you for it or not. How many activities can you count in your life that you engage in simply because they delight you and grip your soul? Find them, cultivate them, and for they are your passport to freedom and to love. That's good. That's good. And that's where people who do jiu-jitsu or people that are into martial arts or people that are into anything that they're passionate about, you're lucky to have that, because a lot of people don't even have a passion and they're constantly looking just for something.
It's called Awareness.
Awareness by Anthony DeMello. That book is really, really good. And you go deep. So I'm going to read that one more time. How many activities can you count in your life that you engage in simply because they delight you and they grip your soul? Find them out, cultivate them, for they are your passport to freedom and to love. That is good.
Pickleball.
Yes, we played some pickleball yesterday. My sister Mariah and my mom, we played some pickleball, and that was a good time, wasn't it?
You didn't know I could run like that, did you?
There was a couple that you've missed that I thought you could have sped it up a little bit, but the effort was there.
Hey, likewise.
Thank you.
To speed it up a little bit.
My
Then
back.
I smashed you
My
in the
back,
face
remember?
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I went to go catch a ball, and I was like, I got it. My mom's like, I got it, and just smacks me across my red face.
I'm so sorry. That's so bad.
Okay, one question for you. Opportunities in life come through people. Who do you need to connect with to gain access to the opportunities you want? It's pretty good. I always say if there's something you're really wanting to do, whether whatever it is, try to find someone that's doing it and try to hang out with them. Try to shadow them. Try to see how they interact with people. Try to see what they do. It's a good way to hack it. All right, we'll go to Patreon here. We got a ton of questions. Question for your mom. How did it feel pushing Tim's ridiculously large head out?
Oh my gosh, he came out fast and furious.
Really?
Crazy. We went to the mall.
Epidural?
No, at home.
Natural.
They don't have epidurals.
Ugh.
No, but did you know the baby helps?
What do you mean?
The baby helps. So they go like this with their head to come out.
Every time? They're
Well,
trying
if
to
they're
push
faced,
out?
yeah, if they're faced right, so the spine cannot be hitting your spine. They have to be, their face is back like that, and they help push out. So you came in 2 hours. You were ready to go.
So you were starting to...
Well, let's go.
That's two hours is
2
still
hours.
a lot of pushing.
What's the average,
No.
like, for a baby to come out?
2 hours is fast. I don't know what the average is. I just know 2 hours is fast. That's what my experienced midwife said.
I think Danny...
He was in a hurry.
I think Sean's Danny was in labor for like a long-ass time, I think.
Yeah.
Ask her why is now the right time to appear on the pod. It feels like it has been years in the making. Thanks, Jobin. Cheers.
It's been too long. It's been hard to get away from work. You know, our family has had a lot of healing to do. I've been through some stuff, and we're strong. You know, we're at a place now, we really respect each other's differences.
Yes.
And we're mature enough to know that it's okay to be different. So
Yeah, and having convos with your family or something, whether your family's like super religious and you're not or something, you should be able to communicate and try to look things through their eyes a little bit. And maybe when when you're having conversations about it, there's spots where you could get fired up. You could see yourself getting fired up and the energy raises and then you start screaming, but just don't attach to those and just sit there and talk to them a little bit.
yeah, be natural.
And it's okay to have different beliefs.
Exactly.
You can still love each other.
Exactly.
But that a lot of families though, when it comes to politics, a lot of like just religions, they just.
I find that people are always trying to figure everything out all the time. It's like, it's not that hard, but I don't want to be cocky either.
Yeah.
You know, but I think a lot of it has to do with love. Love just covers things.
Yeah. Question for Mom. Oh wait, this is Toby Heavyweight real quick. Have you been watching many videos about the next rise in crypto, Bitcoin, Solana? Know anything about it? No, maybe I'll check it out, Toby. Got a little Ethereum. I did a little NFT action and I regretted it. Highly regretted it. Lost
Remember
a lot
you
of
gave
money.
me one thing?
You still got it?
Yeah.
It's worth millies.
Want it back?
It's worth millies. Tie-dye ninjas? Yeah. Okay, Vico. Question for Mom. Any embarrassing stories about young Tim?
I was telling Mariah about one yesterday when I went out to visit with her in the morning. We're petting the horses, and I asked her about the horse that I'm like, why do you tie up the hay for that one horse? And she says it's because he'll pig out on it. Like he needs to eat it just slowly. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, that reminds me of Tim, because when you're nursing a baby, so 7 months of nursing the baby, and then I did have trouble nursing, but I was determined to do it because I feel it's a woman's right if she wants to. So then at 7 months, I had to switch you to the bottle, and you were like guzzling it like a pig. Like you didn't have to work for your food anymore, like the horse that, you know, is kind of a piglet there. So
Yeah.
you love the bottle. You love to switch to the bottle because you could get it in faster. So
Yeah, I like to eat.
are you embarrassed?
I like to eat.
Are you embarrassed?
Look at me.
Did I embarrass you?
Look at me. I'm a bull. I like to eat.
I know they tease me at work too. I like to eat.
Remember the embarrassing moment when our house flooded and we had to live in the hotel for like 10 days or whatever, and then I was sleepwalking nude in the hotel.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny.
That one was a little embarrassing.
It's kind of scary.
Kind of scary. If I would have got outside when it's a complete blizzard outside and I'm sixth grade and I'm naked outside, freezing blizzard, and you have to have a key to get back in.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have woken up and been able to get to the front, but that was weird.
You actually remember that, hey?
Oh yeah. I remember sleepwalking. I remember sleepwalking. I remember you guys having to put a chair in front of the front door because I'd try to walk to school in the night.
Oh yeah.
I remember peeing on Matt.
Do you?
Yep.
Do you remember the toilet in the bedroom?
Yep. The toy box.
Yeah, the pee in the toy box.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
Yeah.
What moment or experience made your mom know for certain that her religion is the correct one?
What moment?
Yes. Was there a moment?
Yeah, there was.
What is it?
Well, I think after I studied and got an accurate knowledge of that religion, it was starting to affect my heart. And so, yeah, I didn't want to go any deeper unless it was true. So I prayed about it and decided that that's what I wanted to do.
There we go.
Yeah, I was probably 16 or so.
Okay, Milt. To Mom, how was your opinion changed, if at all, about Tim pursuing his dreams and not taking the typical route of safety and comfort in getting a normal job? Has his success changed your mind about what's possible?
Oh, yeah. People dream about becoming entrepreneurial and being the boss and things like that. And a lot of people want it. Like they want that, whatever the product is. You know, whether it's fighting or mattresses, whatever, you know, they want to run their own ship. You know, they don't want to be oppressed by a boss in any way. So, yeah, you're an inspiration that way. For sure.
Well, especially nowadays, I mean, podcasts aren't that old. When could you make money off a podcast years ago? So that wasn't even a thought. When could you make money off YouTube? That wasn't even a thought. And being from Montana, there was no fighters with successful gyms after they retire. After a fighter's done being a fighter, they're just beat up, brain dead, working at a car shop or something.
Oh, yeah.
So there wasn't even, your mind didn't even have like, oh, what's possible?
Yeah. And parents love to see their kids happy. As a parent, there's nothing more that you want than to see your adult children happy. That's just, it's just, then they're happy, right?
Yeah, because how do you even deal with it as a parent when your kid's just not doing good? You help the most, you help the best you can, but then at some point it's like, God.
And then at the same time, you can't live with regrets either, and I won't.
Yeah.
I won't, no matter what, and that's the fighter in me. So I don't want to live with regrets. I'm going to be happy no matter what. And then my kids are happy too. They're happy when they see that you're happy. It's amazing how we're all interconnected like a family. And that's one thing I see that's going on in your gym, like the camaraderie and the, you know, the greetings. Everybody, you're introducing me and the greetings and stuff. You don't see that everywhere. Like that came from somewhere. That's a respect thing. And respect is huge to me. I'm just big on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Gabe here. You can go next question if you feel. Do you think having a strong faith means you have a strong mentality? Or do you think it's often delusional to believe full-heartedly? Too deep?
Could you repeat the question?
Do you think having strong faith means you have a strong mentality? Or do you think it's often delusional to believe full-heartedly? I think having strong faith means you have strong faith in your beliefs. So I guess that'd be a strong mentality. I mean, or do you think it's often delusional to believe full-heartedly?
Well, we need a hope. Like, we need a hope for the future. I mean, this can't be it. This isn't it for us. So we would like to be hopeful for the future, and that's what faith is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's her thoughts on JX and Sugar? JX right there.
Just met him.
I know.
Yeah.
Thoughts
Hi.
on looks?
Well, I looked at Sugar's face, and I looked into his eyes, and when I look into Sugar's eyes, I see love. But I could be wrong. I don't know him.
I would say that's true. All the people,
Yeah.
he takes care of his people. He's very giving.
Yeah.
He's very, and he never used to not be like that. When he wouldn't share. He would be very stingy with everything. But now he's wealthy and he does share. He shares with his family. He shares with his friends out of nowhere. And a lot of times he's doing things for people and he never even tells anyone. The other day I was like, what were you giving Kyle the other day? And he's like, oh, I was just paying 6 months of their rent at the recharge center. He's not even telling anyone, just doing it because he cares.
Yeah.
So he does have a lot of love.
That's a huge quality. Generosity is a beautiful quality.
Yeah. Okay, this one's for JX here. Any plans for making product, Jx Soto, no-gi, rash guard, and shorts? You have in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I usually try to go back and forth from gi stuff to no gi stuff. So maybe next stop.
Look at Hazel, Mom.
I know.
God, she's a princess, isn't she?
She's just so tired.
Okay, here we go. Question for Mom. What was the
today.
hardest ass whooping you gave Timbo? And why is your son such a
I feel
lush
bad.
living?
I feel bad for that whooping.
Don't be so bad.
About it.
I probably needed it.
Sometimes you just would throw these fits. Like, you wouldn't stop, like that stubborn streak. I'm like, what the heck? And your dad would work nights. And sometimes I just, like one time, well, not sometimes, spanking, like, didn't work with you. Like, don't punch him or spank him to get him to straighten out. You got to talk to him.
Well,
Because do you remember when you put the layers of underwear on? And I went back and I was told you don't hit your kid's butt with like a hanger or a belt or anything like that. You don't do that. So you put on all these layers of underwear to go get your licking. Brought you in the bedroom. You put the knee on the back and then you spank with the hand. And I was like, dang, my hand hurts after that.
And I didn't.
You're like walking away.
That ain't shit, Mom.
Like, and bragging to your brother and sister that you just got a whoop and it didn't hurt. That's
Then
no
Dad
good.
would come home though with the belt,
Oh.
and he'd put lashings on my back.
Yeah, and then I'd interfere interfere with that,
It was
right?
probably good though, because if you don't get beatings like that, you know who you turn out like? You know who I'm talking about.
Oh,
No, I'm serious though. I think it's good, especially for a boy. I see some boys in this wrestling room. I'm like, how do you not beat on them a little bit?
yeah.
And just make them respect
there's
you and
limit.
say, hey, if you don't listen to me, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't do it out of anger. Okay, that's enough. I'd be like, that's enough, right?
And just beat
That's
me.
enough. But he didn't like get
No.
out of hand, and I've heard of
No.
worse. I've seen worse, heard of worse. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are you gonna beat your kids, Tim?
No.
I wouldn't say
I
beat
don't
them.
think you're allowed
but I
anymore.
think I'm gonna say, hey, if you disrespect your mom or if you disrespect me, you don't listen to me,
You're gonna get choked.
you get your ass whooped.
Yeah.
And an ass whooping you're gonna remember.
I think it's different
know.
too that your kids are gonna know you're MMA black belt. Jiu-Jitsu fight. They're not gonna disrespect you. I would hope.
We'll see. We'll see.
And then with Tim after the divorce, he was so down after I had to divorce his dad, and I didn't know what to do with him. He didn't want to go to school. He was sad and everything. And I go to my dad's house, which was a block up, and I said, Dad, what do I do with him? Like, he won't go back into society. Like, what do I do with him? My dad says, bean and rice him. I'm like, bean and rice him? What do you mean bean and rice him? Only give him beans and rice. By law, you only have to give him beans and rice. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with all the food that's in the cupboards and stuff? Put it in the trunk, bring it over here. I'm like, okay. So I did it it took about 3 days. Bean and riced him. And then he came around.
Really?
You were grieving. You were grieving, and I didn't understand. A person needs time to grieve, right? I was like, get your feet down. Let's go. This is life. But you were trying to grieve.
Well, it was an interesting age too, because I mean, 6th grade, 7th grade, you're just trying to figure out what everything is.
Do you
And all of
remember?
a sudden, yeah, I do remember.
You remember getting bean and riced?
No, I don't. I remember
Oh, that's good.
getting soap in my mouth and stuff like that.
That's like
You
a
got
common
soap in your
dish we
mouth.
have. That's like a common dish Mexicans have.
Beans and
That's
rice.
how I grew up on that. It's
Love.
normal.
That's
Love bean
that's a
and
delicacy.
rice. I love it now.
Okay, Sam. Tim, you've talked about your tits a lot. I've got the same issues. Take a lot of trial and error to keep these puppies pumped up via various different exercises. Wondering if you could speak at all how your relationship has proved with those funky dunkers, and what, if any, keys to success there are like to share. Yeah, it's weird. It's just a lot of it's my body and the way my body sits, and it's like my torso, and then it's like after having that shoulder injury, you couldn't do presses, you couldn't do push-ups for the longest time. So now I'm able to get back to presses and push-ups. Yeah, I mean, you do the best you can, but you just be proud of those tits, Sammy. Yeah, we'll move on here. Justin Lathy. Timbo, my testosterone's at 351 and my doctor won't give me anything. Do you think taking a store-bought testosterone booster is dumb? Justin Lathy, probably. Those store-bought testosterone boosters are just hope in a bottle. I would, a lot of times which is a lot of supplements are.
They have a lot of like natural supplements now, Tim, that boost your testosterone.
Yeah, but probably not like significantly. But Justin, if you're training hard, you just trained twice the other day. You trained twice really hard the other day. You're run down and then you get your blood checked. Yeah, your testosterone's going to be low. Or if you ate a fat meal before you get it checked, it's going to be low. I remember when I was 23, I got my testosterone checked and it was like something like that, 350. But it was like the day before I trained 2 days really hard. So different days. And you're a young buck, Justin. It shouldn't be that low. NZM Charlie. Timbo, have you ever rolled with or trained with Gordon Ryan? I haven't, but I definitely want to. That would be probably pretty cool. Isaac the Great. Timbo, I'm an amateur kickboxing Muay Thai fighter with a little bit of jiu-jitsu experience. What should I be working on to make my transition to MMA? MMA sparring, finding a way to get it to the ground and just getting comfortable in your MMA stance. Stuffing takedowns, sprawling, learning how to sprawl against the fence, learning how to get up against the fence. The wrestling on the cage, getting up against the cage, holding down someone on the cage, pinning someone on the cage, that's a whole different art in itself that you need to learn about. Mixed martial alien question for Momma RedHawk. Who is your celebrity crush?
Mine? Kayla, who is it? I don't know if I have.
Ryan Reynolds or what? He's from Canada too.
Yeah, I am bad with that kind of stuff.
No, you're good. Or you just say who it is.
Yeah, I can't. I can't. I can see faces, but
Oh, okay.
I probably have lots. Will Ferrell?
My
No.
mom lives.
He's pretty funny.
This is Jesse Swain here. What's Mama Welch's opinion on drugs and psychedelics in particular?
Pass.
Pass on that. Not really a fan of anything that switches her ankle.
Ankle.
Kyler Schaefer, question for JX. What's your favorite guard and style of jiu-jitsu in similar to size? And I'm curious what you think your strengths are.
I used to play a lot of bottom, but you got me in the habit of just like wrestling up, playing top position. So lately I just like to play top, just pass. I like to pass fast though. Like I use my speed a lot. So, yeah.
What supplements, vitamins would you recommend for a 135-pound male? Exercises a few times a week that doesn't currently train. I currently take vitamin D, fish oil, omega, magnesium, and drink protein. Also, are you still offering discounts on the Thorn supplements for Patreon members? I am, Justin. There's a fat discount. Every one of the Patreon members gets 15% off, and then the people with the $10 tier get 30% off, I believe. So you just got to message me on Patreon, your name and your email, and then I'll send you the link for that discount because that's definitely worth it. What supplements? But I think you're on track there, Justin. Henry, brain damage in MMA, specifically treatments or supplements you or Sugar take to combat or mitigate. Also sparring frequency and stuff like that. Depends where you're at in your career. Depends where you're at and how actually skilled you are. Young, when you're early, you need to spar a lot, and the brain damage is going to come with it. But when you're outside of practice, doing the best you can at eating clean foods that don't inflame you, having good night's rest where you're sleeping good, just taking care of your overall health is probably going to be good for that. I mean, help as much as you can. And the winning headgear really, it's really nice. It's really nice, especially when you're sparring 16-ounce gloves and winning headgear. The impact isn't near as hard. Luis, how do you feel about Big Red leaving? It's clear to me. Luis, I'll answer that question on Patreon alone. I don't really want to do that on here. Oh, you said you raised a good man. Yeah, I don't want to do it. Well, I mean, it's not that bad. Oh, okay. So it says, as an ex-JW myself, how do you honestly feel about Big Red leaving? I didn't really leave. It's clear to Timbo has kept values from being a JW and is very well-rounded as a person. Yeah. To me, being a religion makes you stronger as a man or woman when you leave. What are your thoughts, Momma RedHawk? Nothing but respect with these questions. And by the way, you raised a great man. Thank you.
And yeah, if anyone has any questions, they can go to JW or JW org.
No, is it ORG?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
org,
and there's
org.
frequently asked questions in there, so yeah.
Okay.
Why did you guys end up in Canada?
I married again after my divorce from his dad, a Canadian.
Oh.
Yeah.
You pick up the accent over there?
Oh yeah, they did.
A little bit.
Michaela did. Really did. Mom did too.
You know why they say hey? They say hey after everything.
Yeah.
They want to keep the conversation going. Hey.
Hey.
That's true, huh?
Say hey.
Huh?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Huh is the American,
yeah.
right? You want to keep the convo going. Hey.
And it's hey or a.
Yeah.
Okay. Tim's mom, tell us about the circus and carnival days. Circus and carnivals are different, buddy.
Yeah, they are. I was not a trapeze artist. Just a carny.
This is an interesting one. You can pass on it if not. Tim's mom. If you could trade Tim's success now to make him a leader among the Jehovah's Witness community, would you do it?
Yeah,
obviously, yes. That would be yes.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Tim, I'm boxing on the amateurs and I want to transition to MMA within due time. I've been doing jiu-jitsu twice a week and still doing my boxing 3 times a week. Any advice or tips for the transitions? Like I said, try to get into some MMA sparring. You're going to need some wrestling too. Because if you're doing jiu-jitsu, that's good, but you need to figure out how to get it on the mat, and you need to figure out how to get up properly. Question from Momma RedHawk. Every religion has their pros and cons. What would you say major pros and cons are in JW? I'm a non-believer, but I'm thankful for the JW because I claim to be JW in the military, so I won't get the COVID shot. You wouldn't say there's any cons, would you?
Cons to being a JW? No.
0. Hey, Tim, I'm boxing amateur, but okay. Nice to meet you, Missoula, Tim. It feels like you work very hard. What kind of mantras? Nice to meet you, Mrs. Tim's mom. It feels like you work very hard. What kind of mantras do you use to help yourself not get lazy through a busy work week?
I'm lazy.
You just let it take you.
Yep. I'm going to change that, though. I'm going swimming on Mondays.
Because you're not that old and you like to act old.
Yeah, but you saw me playing pickleball.
I did.
Like, I was in there. Like, give me some fun. Give me some nice weather. Yeah, I'm going to go swimming on Mondays now. I've got a beautiful park I can walk around once a day. But, yeah, the temperatures in Canada, they are a little hindering that way. Mm-hmm. It's true.
Well, you broke your hip.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago. I'm fine now.
You got a whole new hip.
Yeah.
A whole new hip, and you didn't even go under.
Nope.
You didn't go under. You stay awake, and how big your hip? How big's a hip?
The hip replacements. It's a round ceramic ball and a metal that goes down the leg. And
you stayed awake, and they're hacking away.
Yeah.
Dink, 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 and you're sitting there thinking, "This is nothing.
This is awesome." Yeah, I just got watching Grey's Anatomy. I watched that for a while. I'm like, this is really cool, actually.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Momma RedHawk, were you a part of any religion before the Jehovah's Witness?
No.
That was the first.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Drew. Momma RedHawk, do you feel like you succeeded as a mother in raising Tim? Tim, I'm new to BJJ and already broke my thumb and injured both LCLs. Do I need to take a couple weeks break and see how I feel? I like the mental clarity I get from BJJ, so that's what keeps me going daily. That's what sucks about jiu-jitsu. It's part of the sport. You're going to get injured. You're going to get injured. But it's important when you're injured, if you want to, it depends what your goals are too. If you want to get good, you still can go watch practice. You can study jiu-jitsu on YouTube. You can do all sorts of things to strengthen your mentality and just study the sport. Watch different world champions. Watch how they pass the guard. Watch how they maintain the guard. Watch how... there's just so much jiu-jitsu content to watch. And I have students right now that are hurt, and it's just part of the sport. You think it's the end of the world, and all you want to do is train, but it's like you got to learn to deal with injuries strong. You can't, every time you get injured, I'm going to eat like crap. I'm going to do a bunch of drugs, and I'm just going to feel sorry for myself. It's like, just don't do that. Don't be a puss like that. Matthias Beckford, got any tips for keeping your gi extra fresh? Yeah, just put that puppy in the washing machine. Put some soap in there. Wash her up and hang her up. And she'll be fresh as ever. UFC this weekend, we got Brendan Allen and Paul Craig. Should be an interesting main event. I'm excited for the Chase Hooper, Jordan Levitt. Both are good at jiu-jitsu. We got to roll Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper's jiu-jitsu is actually really good. He's got one of those styles that just is going to keep going. He's not very strong, not very explosive, but he's got good technical jiu-jitsu, and he's going to keep moving. And strong, explosive people can shut his stuff down. They use a lot of their strength and explosive, but then later in the match, if you're not careful, he'll catch you in a submission and take you out. On the prelims, anything that sticks out, Jonathan Pierce, our boy Jonathan Pierce, I think he's on a 4-fight win streak, JP. He's fighting Joe Anderson Brito at 15-3. That should be a good little battle there. If Jonathan Pierce wins that, he'll probably bust into the top 10, which is good. Then after that, we got Dariush Sarsukian. Man, that's a tough fight for Dariush. I'm excited to watch that fight. I watched some of Armin's content and how he trains, and that dude is a stud. He's training the right way. He's an athlete. He's hungry. Beneil, is such a beast too. So well-rounded. I can see Sarsukian taking that one. Dan Hooker, Bobby Green. That's a good battle there. Co-main, I wish that one was 5 rounds. That's an interesting fight. I don't know really who to take there. And then Rob Font, Davison Figueiredo's bumping up to bantamweight. That should be an excellent battle, Davison Figueiredo. He's not going to be small for 135. He's going to be pretty normal size. But I think Rob Font's boxing so sharp, and Davison Figueiredo's a little bit reckless. I think Rob Font might piece him up. Oh, that same card as Sean Brady, Kelvin Gastelum. And this is just a fight night. This is going to be a sweet card here. Sean Brady get Kelvin Gastelum. That's a good fight. Welterweight Kelvin, monster. Sean Brady's a freaking monster too. Then we got Pinelo Sorinio, hard-hitting middleweight. Cleo Roundtree's on that card. Clay Guida on the prelims. Damn, he's still at it. Clay Guida, 38-20 is his record. That's crazy. We got Misha Tate on that card also. And then that's about it. That's about it. So today I'm going to go help. Right after this, I'm going to go help some of my MMA competitors here. I do a little noon private for them. Little striking action. I'll probably go eat lunch with my mom and sister. And then get ready for tonight's classes. All while trying to enjoy my day with this back pain. All right, guys.
Okay.
Hit that like and subscribe button on the road to 100K. The YouTube is my last goal I need to hit. For all my social media stuff, if I can get to 100K on YouTube, I accomplished all my social media goals for 2023. So I'm pumped about it. Comment what you guys think below, and follow me on Snapchat. And also, we have the Patreon. The Patreon's awesome. I do a video every week on there just for the Patreons. And then there's discount codes. There's merch available just for the Patreons only on there. And years of content. So join the group if you like to support. If not, no problem. And we'll see you guys next week. Love you. Bye-bye.